The Three Heads of the Will by Flora Annie Steele. Not all princesses sit in castles waiting to be rescued. Some go out to seek their own fortunes. This princess, from the east of England, even takes a bottle of beer with her. Small beer is a weak beer people drank every day, when water wasn't safe to drink. You will find a wonderful old use of the word weird in this story, meaning to cast a spell. Once upon a time, there reigned a king in Colchester who was valiant, strong, wise, and famous throughout the land as a good ruler. But in the mid of his glory, his dear queen died, leaving him with a daughter to look after. This maiden was renowned for her beauty, kindness, and grace. Now strange things happen. The king of Colchester heard of a lady who had immense riches and had a mind to marry her, although she was old, ugly, hook-nosed, and ill-tempered. Furthermore, she possessed a daughter as ugly as herself. None could give the reason why, but only a few weeks after the death of his dear queen, the king brought this lowly bride to court and married her with great pomp and festivities. Now the very first thing she did was to position the king's mind against his own beautiful, kind daughter, of whom, naturally, the ugly queen and her ugly daughter were jealous. Now when the young princess found that even her father has turned against her, she grew weary of court life and longed to get away from it. So, one day, happening to meet the king alone in the garden, she went down on her knees and begged and prayed him to give her some help and let her go out into the world to seek her fortune. To this the king agreed and told his consort to fit the girl out for her enterprise in proper fashion. But the jealous woman only gave her a canvas bag of brown bread and hard cheese, with a bottle of small beer. Though this was but a pitiful dowry for a king's daughter, the princess was too proud to complain, so she took it, returned her thanks, and set off on her journey through woods and forests, by rivers and lakes, over mountain and valley. At last, she came to a cave at the mouth of which, on a stone, sat an old man with a white beard. "Good day, fair damsel," he said. "Where are you going?" "Reverend father," replied she, "I am going to seek my fortune." "And what have you a dowry, fair damsel?" said he, "in your bag and bottle?" "Bread and cheese and small beer, father," said she, smiling. "Will it please you to partake of either?" "With all my heart," said he. And when she pulled out her provisions, he ate them nearly all. But once again she made no complaint, but bade him eat what he needed. Now when he had finished, he gave her many thanks, and said, "For your beauty, and your kindness, and your grace, take this wand. There is a thick thorny hedge before you that seems impassable, but strike it thrice with this wand, saying each time, 'Please, hedge, let me through,' and it will open a pathway for you. Then, when you come to a well, sit down on the brink of it. Do not be surprised at anything you may see, but whatever you are asked to do, please do." So saying, the old man went into the cave, and she went on her way. After a while, she came to a high, thick, thorny hedge, but when she struck it 3 times with the wand, saying, "Please, hedge, let me through," it opened a wide pathway for her. So she came to the well, on the brink of which she sat down, and no sooner had she done so, than a golden head without any body came up through the water, singing as it came, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on a bank to dry softly, and prettily to watch the passers by. "Certainly," she said, pulling out her silver comb, then placing the head on her lap. She began to comb the golden hair. When she had combed it, she lifted the golden head softly and laid it on a prime rose bank to dry. No sooner had she done this than another golden head appeared, singing as it came, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on a bank to dry softly and prettily to watch the passers-by." "Certainly," said she, and after combing the golden hair, placed the golden head softly on the primrose bank beside the first one. Then came a third head out of the well, and it said the same thing, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on a bank to dry softly and prettily to watch the passers-by." "With all my heart," said she graciously, and after taking the head on her lap and combing its golden hair with her silver comb, there were the 3 golden heads in a row on the primrose bank. She sat down to rest and looked at them. They were so quaint and pretty. As she rested, she cheerfully ate and drank the meager protein of the brown bread, hard cheese, and small beer that the old man had left to her. Though she was a king's daughter, she was too proud to complain. Then the first head spoke. "What shall we rear for this damsel who has been so gracious? I reared her to be so beautiful that she shall charm everyone she meets." "And I," said the second head, "reared her a voice that shall exceed the nightingale's in sweetness." "And I," said the third head, "reared her to be so fortunate that she shall marry the greatest king alive." "Thank you with all my heart," said she, "but don't you think I had better put you back in the well before I go on? Remember you are golden, and the passers-by might steal you." To this they agreed, so she put them back, and when they had thanked her for her kind thought and said goodbye, she went on her journey. Now she had not traveled far before she came to a forest, where the king of the country was hunting with his nobles, and as the procession passed down the glade she stood back to avoid them. But the king caught sight of her and drew up his horse, amazed at her beauty. "Fair maid," he said, "who are you, and where are you traveling through the forest alone?" "I am the King of Colchester's daughter, and I go to seek my fortune," said she, and her voice was sweeter than a nightingale's. Then the king jumped from his horse, being so struck by her that he felt it would be impossible to live without her, and falling on his knee, begged and prayed her to marry him without delay. And he begged and prayed so well that at last she consented. So, with all courtesy, he lifted her onto his horse behind him, and commanding the hunt to follow, he returned to his palace, where the wedding festivities took place with all possible pomp and merriment. Then, ordering out the royal chariot, the happy pair departed to pay the King of Colchester a bridal visit. You may imagine the surprise and delight with which, after so short an absence, the people of Colchester saw their beloved, beautiful, kind, and gracious princess return in a chariot as the bride of the most powerful king in the world. The bells rang out, flags flew, drums beat, the people cheered, and all was gladness, save for the ugly queen and her ugly daughter, who were ready to burst with envy, for the dispessed maiden was now above them both, and went before them at every court ceremony. So, after the visit was ended, and the young king and his bride had gone back to their own country to live happily ever after, the ugly, ill-natured princess said to her mother, the ugly queen, "I also will go into the world and seek my fortune. If that drab of a girl with her mincing ways got so much, what may I not get?" So her mother agreed, and furnished her forth with silken dresses and furs, and gave her as provisions sugar, almonds, and sweetmeats of every variety, beside a large flagon of Malaga wine, altogether a royal dowry fit for a princess. Armed with her plentiful package, the ugly princess set forth on her journey, following the same road as her stepsister. Thus she soon came upon the same old man with the white beard, who was seated on a stone by the mouth of a cave. "Good day," said he. "Where are you going?" "What's that to you, old man?" said she rudely. "And what have you for a dowry in bag and bottle?" he asked quietly. "Good thing with which you shall not be troubled," she answered pertly. "Will you not spare an old man something to eat?" he said. Then she laughed. "Not a bite, not a stop, lest they should choke you, though that would be small matter to me," she replied, with a toss of her head. "Then illa go with you," remarked the old man as he rose and went into the cave. So she went on her way, and after a time came to the thick thorny hedge, and seeing what she thought was a gap in it, she tried to pass through, but no sooner had she got well into the middle of the hedge than the thorn closed in around her, so that she was all scratched and torn before she won her way. Thus, streaming with blood, she went on to the well, and seeing water, sat at the brink intending to cleanse herself. But just as she dipped her hands, up came a golden head, singing as it came, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on the bank to dry, lay me on the bank to dry softly and prettily to watch the passers-by." "A likely story," said she. "I am going to wash myself. Thank you very much." And with that she gave the head such a bang with her bottle that it blooded below the water, but it came up again, and so did the second head, singing as it came, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on a bank to dry softly and prettily to watch the passers-by." "Not I," scoffed she. "I'm going to wash my hands and face and have my dinner." So she gave the second head a cruel bang with the bottle, and both heads stuck down in the water. But when they came up again, all draggled and dipping, the third head came also, singing as it came, "Wash me and comb me, lay me on the bank to dry softly and prettily to watch the passers-by." By this time the ugly princess had cleansed herself, and seated on the primrose bank, had her mouth full of sugar and almonds. "Not I," said she as well as she could. "I am not a washerwoman nor a barber, so take that for your washing and combing." And with that she finished the wine, carelessly flung the empty bottle at the three heads floating in the well, and carried on greedily eating her sweets. But this time the heads didn't duck. They looked at each other and said, "How shall we weird this girl for her bad manners? I weird that to her ugliness shall be added blotches on her face," said the first head. "And I weird that she shall for ever be hoarse as a crow, and speak as if she had her mouth full," said the second head. "And I weird that she shall be glad to marry a cobbler," said the third head. Then the three heads sank into the well and were no more seen, and the ugly princess went on her way. But, lo and behold, when she came to a town, the children ran from her ugly blotched face, screaming with fright. And when she tried to tell them she was the king of the Colchester's daughter, her voice squeaked like a corncrake's, was hoarse as a crow's, and folk could not understand a word she said, because she spoke as if her mouth was full. Now in the town there happened to be a cobbler, who not long before had mended the shoes of a poor old hermit, and the latter, having no money, had paid for the job by the gift of a wonderful ointment that would cure blotches on the face, and a bottle of medicine that would banish any hoarseness. So, seeing the miserable ugly princess in great distress, he went up to her and gave her a few drops out of his bottle, And then, understanding from her ritual attire and clearer speech that she was indeed a king's daughter, he craftily said that if she would take him for a husband, he would undertake to cure her. Anything, anything, sobbed the miserable princess. So they were married, and the cobbler straightway set off with his bride to visit the king of Colchester. But the bells did not ring, the drums did not beat, and the people, instead of cheering, burst into loud guffaws at the cobbler in leather, and his wife in silks and satins. As for the ugly queen, she was so enraged and disappointed that she went mad with anger and left the country, whereupon the king, really pleased at getting rid of her so soon, gave the cobbler £100 and bade him go about his business with his ugly bride, which he did quite contentedly, for £100 meant much to the poor cobbler. So they went to a remote part of the kingdom and lived unhappily for many years, he cobbling shoes and she spinning the thread for him.